AI chat tools like ChatGPT and Bard can help us in our design of learning for students. And when we're designing lessons, we're designing activities, even assessments or resources, we can be using it to kind of use it as an extra, almost thought buddy in order to find ways that we can improve it. Sometimes it's just another way to get us out of our way of doing things in the past and find new ways of doing it. I mean, we can do simple things like asking questions like, what is universal design for learning? And it's going to pull in information. Of course, I'm using the free version of ChatGPT, which is, not pulling from live internet. More premium version, I may do this video using that. But you can see here, I asked this simple question, what is universal design for learning? It gives me a nice little understanding of this, and I can see that that's a pretty good response. Now, I could even ask this to explain this. Explain this in simpler terms, and it'll do that. It'll look back at what it is and try to lower the complexity of the text and try to make it simpler to understand. I can do the same thing with any information I'm giving to students in the classroom. I could copy and paste the information here and have it lower or increase the complexity level of the text in order to make it more accessible to my students. So that's one way I could use ChatGPT. I could translate the previous response into Spanish, and it will do the same thing. And of course, it's using very powerful tools. Now, is it going to be 100% perfect? No, but it's pretty good. And so that's an easy way we can do this. So another thing is I could also, we'll look back at the first response. What are the important terms to know and define them? And so it's going to look back through there, and it's going to look at those terms and put them in. So if I know I'm needing to find some terms, there's an easy way I can do that for that, and I get the definitions right away. I could then even give that to my students so they can use that. So you can see that I can use these prompts. And again, I'm just kind of working off the same thing that I was previously. I don't have to ask it that first question again. It kind of knows that, so I can just ask it to relate to that. Ways that teacher, so imagine you put students in this, learn more about UDL. Now, I'm using UDL because it already stated that in its response, so that it's going to give me some ways of doing that. I could even then ask it to design a professional development lesson around this. I could have it then ask it to design again and again and again. So let's do that right now. Design a, let's say, 45-minute lesson for teachers around the main concepts of UDL. Oops, there we go. And so it's going to do that. It's going to design a lesson for me. And again, I may have to ask it to do this thing a little bit different. Maybe I have more time. Maybe I have less time. Maybe I want to say, hey, I want to make sure there's a lot of group activities in this, or I want to make it more inquiry based. I could ask those questions. And again, it's just about looking back at that prompt and then adjusting that prompt as we go along. So if we bring it back to the classroom, we can now look at things asking it simply as, okay, we already looked at how to change complexity of text. We've already looked at how to translate it. Maybe I can have it explain it in different terms. Use a variety of analogies to explain UDL. Now let's see if it figures it out. So again, this is the way I can use it for class because maybe I want different analogies. I can even relate it to some of those concepts if I know my students are really interested in that. That's a way to increase the engagement of that. Now, if we want to look at different ways to assess, are some different ways that someone can show that they understand what UDL is. I'm not going to use proper grammar on this and use question mark. So again, I could try doing something like this. I could even have it create some test questions. I could have it create a open-ended response question to this. Again, this is kind of just the thing I'm asking it to do this. Now, me as a teacher, I have to be able to look at this and see if it's good or not. I have to be able to see if it's something that really is correct, or I can just kind of see how this main thing. Now, the nice little thing here is that it's going to say for me. So that's one reason I like ChatGPT. I can easily go to the left here. I can see those questions. I can go back through this. I can see all of this. Yes, the free version is limited to how many you can ask in a day, but you can see that I've had no trouble up to this point. So using ChatGPT like this, I could increase the accessibility and everything of a lesson by just asking those things. I'm looking at the resources involved. I could be looking at how am I having kids learn about this, and I can look at how I'm having kids show their understanding about this. These are all prompts I can be using this chat tool to improve, and thus getting at the better components of that. One prompt you can easily do in this, for the following lesson, and this is where I'm going to leave a blank for this, but you can put that there. Improve the UDL of this lesson, and it would give you some responses, and you can ask it to do it again and again till you think it's right level for that. If you already know the things that are keeping your students from being successful, use those specific things in your responses to get the output that you're going to need to improve the lesson. So play around with this, try some of those prompts, and keep looking at how you can improve the prompts, because that is the key thing with using these tools.